increase in drifting and drag racing hours. That right there is key. With every plan or every strategy, you have to tweak and you have to adjust. And so for our young folks and for the people that like engaging in the donuts and the takeover of intersections, they study us just like we study them. I have a real-time crime center. I have the best analysts out and available, and so we know exactly what we're doing. But that event, the takeover on 7 Mile and Myers, occurred when our mobile field force had got off. But so we're going to adjust our hours of operation, and I'm letting them know, and I'm letting you all know as well, that they will now go to 5 a.m. or longer. The mayor has authorized the overtime, and our officers are ready to go. And the mayor already spoke to the ordinance change that he'll be requesting as well of our city council members. And so I want to thank City Council President. I want to thank Councilmember Young and all of City Council, whom I've made personal phone calls to this morning, asking them for their support. And they have given me their support as to what we need to do as far as getting the word out and also holding not responsible parents accountable. And so it's not about penalizing the kids. They're minors. If you notice, when we talk about curfew and the increase, I'm pushing for the increase when it comes to the parental responsibility aspect of the curfew violation. So that is our plan. My officers are ready to go. I have my executive team standing behind me. I have community that is with me. We have our community violence interrupters, and I will speak to that, which has been successful. And I would say our CVI program is the best in the nation. We have been able to show, by putting them in some of the most violent areas within the city of Detroit, is 6 zones, and those 12 square mile zones, looking back over 5 years, were the highest when it came to shootings, non-fatal shootings, and homicides. They have done remarkable work by reducing it collectively over 40% in their zones. We want to do more of that. Things that work, we double down and add more to it. So that's the reason I'm urging the Michigan Senate to adopt the Public Safety Trust Fund so that Detroit can double the targeted zones from 12 square miles to 24 square miles. And the Public Safety Trust Fund does something additional as well. The House version does, where it creates a trust fund that will have sustainable funds year after year after year, so that our community violence intervention specialists, our credible messengers, can actually put programming in place and can do things and ensure that we fund the programs that work. So with that, we'll open it up for questions.
Randy Wembley from Channel 7. Quick question. What would you say to people who would be concerned that the enhanced enforcement of the curfew could lead to heavy-handed policing practices, things along the lines of stop and frisk? What would you say to folks who may have those concerns?
I would tell them that our officers are very experienced, and that that's not the intent, nor will that occur. The intent is to ensure that from a preventative standpoint, that very youthful minors and individuals are off the street and that we're holding parents accountable. And it's going to be a response also where the community is calling. We're writing curfew tickets for minors right now as young as 12, 13, 9, out at 3, 4 in the morning. Many of them are even on our buses. And so I have my my TEOs my traffic equipment operators, that's their technical name, that will be giving us information as well. And so we're a constitutional policing department. We have the best practices when it comes to constitutional policing. And I have no doubt that the men and women of the city of Detroit will continue to do the excellent job that they do. The only thing that's changing is based off this uptick in teen violence, we're putting things in place to ensure that we reduce the amount of young people that are hurt in this city and drive violence down.
And just for clarification, this curfew enforcement, that is just going to last throughout the summer. In the mobile field force deployment up to 5 a.m. is that?
At the end of summer, I'll reevaluate the need, but it may last longer. Okay. I'm going to follow the data.
Okay. Thank you.
Hey, Chief. This is Andrea from the Detroit Free Press. So when you said that over the weekend 6 juveniles were shot, do you have the ages and the status of their conditions?
Yeah, I can get those for you.
Okay, and then that was from Friday to Sunday, clarification?
That was Thursday. We actually started early, so it was Thursday to Sunday.
Okay, thank you.
Chief, everyone, good afternoon. Brandon Hudson, Fox 2. Look, I saw the code enforcement or curfew enforcement vans outside. Explain the purpose of those vans as people may see them in the neighborhood.
The purpose of the vans is to be able to transport our young folks into places where they can be processed at various centers that we identify, and then we'll call their parents, and when their parents arrive to pick them up, that's when they'll be issued a parental responsibility citation. Oftentimes, when we arrive at locations, it's not 1, 2, or 3. It may be as many as 50. And so the vans are to safely transport the young folks that we detain so that they can be processed and their parents can be notified to pick them up.
Look, we got several weeks before we start school again. I know a lot of these kids have become victims of this gun violence. What is it that you want to tell these parents? What is it that you want to tell these community members to make sure and ensure these kids will be safe and can go back to school come September?
I would tell the parents that we need you to step up. We need you to ensure that you know where your kids are. My officers tell me so many stories of parents just dropping their kids off to various locations and leaving. And as we know that unsupervised teenagers get into mischief oftentimes if it's not adult supervision. And as a result, we've seen unfortunate situations where they have been the perpetrators of a shooting or other violence or the victims. And so this is a preventative strategy, not a punitive strategy, but a strategy to strongly encourage parents to know where your children are. And this isn't just a Detroit problem. This is a problem that if you look, it's a national issue. But in the city of Detroit, we're going to address it appropriately, not heavy-handedly, but address it in a way so that we can prevent, based off the data, this uptick that we're seeing in teen violence. In every category of violent crime in the city of Detroit is down. And I'm talking about we're way down. But as soon as we start to see a trend emerge of young people, and that's what we're seeing now, being injured, and then also the perpetrators of violence, then it's time to act. And so the Detroit Police Department and this city, we're moving with a sense of urgency to address this emerging trend.
Chief, thanks for your time.
Hi, Chief. Pamela Osborne, Local 4. My first question, I understand that curfew enforcement is going to be a priority for all officers, but could you talk to a little bit more about the numbers? How many are going to be assigned to this mobile unit and how many units you actually have out in the community?
I never talk about the specific number of my officers, so that's something I don't talk about, but it's going to be a lot.
And
But I will tell you this. This is now a priority for every member of the Detroit Police Department. So whether they're working the precinct, regular patrol car, whether they're working community relations, this is an extreme priority when it comes to curfew enforcement, because the data is showing that if we enforce curfew, we can save lives, because it would be for young individuals that wouldn't have gunshot wounds over this past weekend if they had been at home and under the supervision of a responsible adult. And that's another thing that you'll continuously hear me say, a responsible adult. And so I'll be working with members of city council and parks and recs and other things, because I do realize that we have to create safe spaces where our young people can gather. But that's another conversation, not today.
And I don't know if you're able to speak to it, but as far as social media goes, is that something that you guys are monitoring? Is that a way that you can head out some of these parties or gatherings that are taking place? Is that part of your strategy at all?
Absolutely. We monitor social media. I got the best real-time crime center in the country. I got some of the best analysts, and so that is a part of what we do.
Thank you.
Hi, Veronica with CBS Detroit. So I'm just kind of curious, because a lot of these violent incidents have involved guns. Where are these guns coming from? Are they being bought illegally? Do the teens have access to their parents' guns? And can anything be done to curb their access to weapons?
Yeah, that's a very complex question, because they don't come from one source. They come from a lot of different sources. And so with the prevalence of guns in this country, there are 3 guns for every person in our country that are out there. So what we're going to do is concentrate on the curfew and hold individuals accountable as to where the guns come from as well. And so we track guns, we track the shell casings, and when we find individual adults that put guns in the hands of our teens, we will hold them accountable as well. I know that Prosecutor Worthy bring charging decisions, and then also we have a phenomenal U.S. attorney by the name of Jerome Gorgon, who is interested, and I have the full support of the ATF, which specializes in straw purchases and tracking where the guns come from. But secure your weapons, and I'll say it again. Parents, know where your teens are. Let's be responsible. And I'm not talking about all parents. I'm just specifically talking about the ones, some of them that drop their teens off downtown and then leave, and others. Just know where your teens are. We need you to be responsible. And if you're not responsible, we're going to hold you accountable, as you can see.
Thank you.
All righty. Thank you all so much.